Welcome back, everyone. I'm David Greenberg, and you're watching From Purpose to Profit. This is a brand new short form podcast that I launched recently. And basically what we do on this podcast is we have great conversations with thought leaders and experts, coaches and others who are leading from purpose. And what I mean by that is obviously, we all want the same things. We want more time, more freedom to enjoy life more. But sometimes when you get into business, you find yourself kind of chasing the money, chasing the dollars, the revenue. And while I think there's a place for that, what I have discovered just from my own interactions, from myself and interacting with others, is when we lead with purpose, especially our deeper purpose, what we really came here to do, that's where we really unlock the true abundance and the true opportunities in life. So having said that, I have a special guest here who I'm going to introduce now. Her name is Yvonne Dam. She is an executive business coach, and she has been leading her business with purpose. So I'm going to invite Yvonne to share a little bit about how she has created her coaching business, talk a little more about how she works with service-based CEOs of service-based business through her brand, Amaze Yourself. And Yvonne, it's great to have you here on this second episode of the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, David. It's my pleasure.
Awesome, Yvonne. And obviously, most people here are not going to know you. So go ahead and maybe introduce yourself briefly. Tell us about you, yourself, what you do, anything you want to share.
So I'm Yvonne, and I'm the founder of Amaze Yourself Coaching. And we help driven business owners with a purpose to scale their business, to grow their business to the next level. And they often come to us when they feel they've plateaued. So they're working a lot, but they don't seem to reach that next level. And with me, they look at what's the strategy I need, how do I implement it, and how do I bring back the fun? And basically, my life motto is work less, live more. And that's what clients that work with me tend to get.
Amazing. Now, I'm guessing, in fact, I remember, because we've talked about this before, this clearly this work less, live more comes from your own experience, Yvonne. So maybe talk about how you came to focus on this.
Sure. I have 25 years of experience in the corporate world, and I started as an international tax lawyer in one of the top 2 global audit firms. And lawyers charge by the minute. So we were very pushed for productivity all the time. And I did extremely well, but I got burned out. And then I recovered, I, took a different path, and I finally opened my coaching business. And I thought, this is what I've always wanted. And now it's like the freedom that I desire, right? And then while I was a couple of years in, I all of a sudden realized that all I was doing was work. I was a true workaholic. And especially when you're just starting and, when you have to do everything yourself, there never seems enough time. And I decided that's not what I want. I really want to do things differently. And that's when I started to work with a different strategy. I looked at what's really what I like to do, what works well for me, forget about all the rest. And with that, I grew my business, and it was an amazing feeling. So that's now what I help others with as well.
Got it. Would you say that this realization came over time, maybe organically, slowly over time, or was there some event or series of events that just kind of hit you all at once that made that clear to you?
I always would have loved for it to be a coup de foudre, that all of a sudden I knew, but that wasn't really the case. It was just when I, felt really tired, felt really disappointed with the results I was getting from all my effort, that I thought, well, this isn't why I started my business. I started my business because I wanted to spend more time with my daughter and with my family and, have some downtime for me. So that kind of brought to me that I thought, I really need to change things, and I really need to start focusing. And I don't know about you, David, but I work with many people who have a very broad focus. They love a lot of things. They're what we call multi-potentialites. So that are people that have a broad interest, know a lot about those things, and really get to the bottom and learn quickly about multiple things. So it's, for example, the serial entrepreneur or the entrepreneur that always has a couple of projects they're working on. And with that, they are often very creative, have the most genius ideas, but it's quite hard if you're not focusing on reaching that next level in your business. So what I found was that I was so spread out that there was no focus at all. It was too scattered to really make an impact. So I choose, okay, so then what are the couple of things, because one thing is too boring, what are the couple of things I want to focus on? And when I brought back my focus, things started to change for the better. And that's now what I help my clients with. Sometimes it's saying, well, you want to do multiple projects, but maybe try it out to spread it in different times and focus first on this priority and then the next and then the next. So it is focus, but it is always tailored to what you need to feel happy in your business.
Amazing. And sure, I mean, I agree with you. I'm guilty of the same thing, trying to do different things. And I think, when you have a certain level of intelligence and a certain engagement in life, it's easy to get caught up in wanting to try new things, but it's also true that we can't, if you try to be a master of many things, you're going to end up being a master of none of them. So at some point we do have to choose, where we're going to focus, and we're going to be able to add more value in that regard. I am curious, like, it sounds like, when I speak with you, it sounds like you're very obviously in your stride, so what is it at a core level when you wake up in the morning? How do you know deep inside, how do you know in your heart that you're doing what you came here to do?
Well, I feel that when I help clients to have a better business, a better life, that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I don't know whether you've ever heard of the zone of genius.
Sure.
But the zone of genius is basically where you perform work that doesn't feel like work, because it feels so easy. And for those of you who are listening, I do, quotation marks around easy. It feels so easy for you that you go like, well, I would even do this for free. I love this so much. I enjoy this so much. And my clients gain so much from it that it feels like almost, wow, why would I charge it for this? And I have hit that point with my clients where I just love it. I feel I could talk to them endlessly. I could celebrate with them or cry, because let's be honest, it's not always, sunshine. And that's my zone of genius. I just know it sounds maybe, but I was going to say I'm born to do this. It lights me up. It fulfills me. It is such a pleasure to coach people and to see them grow and to be part of their team and to feel part of their business. I mean, yeah, that's what wakes me up.
It's amazing to be able to wake up in the morning and know that you're facing, that you have all the motivation in the world because you're on your path, right?
Yes.
So for the people that you work with, obviously part of the reason, maybe the main reason they came to you, is they're struggling with that, right? So they're not on the path. They probably thought they were on the path, and they almost certainly made choices to go into business, into having a service-based business, because that's what they wanted to do. What would you say is the main struggle, or like what characterizes someone that you're going to really be able to help? And then maybe walk us through a little bit briefly about what that looks like.
Yeah, I would say the main struggle is that my clients tend to do quite well. So their business is doing well, but they seem to be stuck. They seem to hit a certain plateau where it doesn't matter how much hours they put in. It doesn't really matter what they do, but there's no growth. And that kind of frustrates them, that overwhelms them, because as well as I do, sometimes you work and it doesn't feel like work, and you put in another hour, but you get the results and you go like, wow, this feels amazing. But if you're putting in the work again and again, but you're not seeing as much as you want to from the hours put in, then you feel like, nah, this doesn't feel great. And if it's not just 1 week or 1 month, you get at that point where you go like, well, I know I want to do this work. I love my clients, but you almost start to resent it a bit, or you start to feel disappointed with yourself because how come this is your baby? It's your business. How come it's not going next level? And it often has to do with your personal organization, which is even more frustrating because you know that it's your personal organization that needs a bit of, lifting. It often has to do with your productivity that's also lacking. So you know it, but you don't really know how to fix it or how to go from that point. That's typical, the clients that start working with me. They do well, they are willing to put in more, but they can't seem to get over that bump.
Got it. Okay. So we're talking basically there is a plateau, and there could be a number of different factors that are contributing to that. But as you and I know, Yvonne, I mean, we like, obviously we like to go deep here. So going a little bit deeper in that, and I know everybody's different, so I'm not trying to put everybody into the same box, but what would be some examples of some deeper reasons why, they're really plateauing beyond just the fact that they can't seem to get the organization going?
Yeah, I love that question. Well, let me first say, I always work with a framework. So the framework is time. Target, we set your goals.
Yep.
And we assess where you are and what needs to improve or what you can let go of. Very important. I stands for implementation. I help you to implement the plan that we decide on. M stands for monetize, because it makes it a lot easier when you get some help. And E stands for elevation. And this is where we really get somewhere, because all too often the clients I work with or the people I see in my community have something on an unconscious level that is keeping them back from growing. And it might not be clear in the beginning, and we still need to do the productivity and hiring the right staff and helping you with the structuring and the organization. That almost needs to get done first the very practical. But then we need to see at a deeper level what's holding you back. And it can be something like, I had a client who went bankrupt with a different company before. So he was very afraid to grow because, he might go bankrupt again. I had someone who had a partner, and that partner betrayed her. What if it happens again? I know I need to grow and I need to hire a new partner, but I might get betrayed. I have quite a few people, because they are creative, they are non-linear thinkers, so they think quite differently, that have a label by society, oh, you're different. And even though they know that this difference makes them stand out as an employee, as long as you get labeled again and again, you're different, it quite quickly turns into your mind into you're different, you're not good enough, you're not worthy. And that unworthiness then translates into, I need to work harder to prove that I'm worthy. And then you get into this cycle, because basically that's not the answer.
100%. And these are topics that I've talked about a lot in my content, and just kind of explored for myself. Really, it is at the very deepest level, it's learning to love yourself and accept the fact that things are always going to be imperfect, and you don't have to beat yourself up. We all have previous bad experiences. Probably most business owners will have made a bad investment at some point. And it's important to be able to let go of things like that and not become attached, not have a trauma about it where you can't move past it. And it may seem almost superficial, like, why would that be an issue? But you have to really understand, we have to learn how our mind works, and the fact that our mind does tend to fixate on protecting us from what we perceive as a threat based on what has already happened. So there's a lot of deep psychology here, and it sounds like you've grasped it. I would imagine we don't have to dive in too deep to the mechanics of it, but it sounds like, Yvonne, that part of your work is to obviously help the person go within themselves and understand their own psychology and work on themselves as much as on themselves as much as on their business, right?
Yes. I think for me, that makes the biggest difference, because a strategy, logic thinking, you can get very far. And yes, often
Sure.
you need someone, with an outside perspective to help you there and to get a bit of clarity again. And then implementation, of course, you need help there as well, because let's be honest, we don't change overnight. But where I feel I make the biggest difference is that inner part. Sometimes it's confidence, sometimes it's acceptance, but it's always that some call it mindset. Doesn't really matter how you call it, but as long as you start seeing how amazing you are, as long as you start seeing, you're worthy of what you're doing. Actually, you're great at what you're doing, and that's why people want to work with you. And when you start owning that, then things start to shift. And that's the most amazing thing to see.
That's great. Hence, amaze yourself, right? I mean, it makes sense.
It
Yeah.
is definitely like that. Yeah.
So I don't know if you have a story. You don't have to name any names, but maybe just in terms of an anecdote, any amazing stories where someone came from a very low place and in a relatively reasonable period of time, they found themselves really elevating. If anything at all you want to share from your experience.
Yeah, I have, one story that springs to mind is someone who's already was running their business already quite some years. And they built a name for themselves and they were doing really well. And, when we started working together, they told me, well, this is my business. I've been doing this quite some while and, I'm good at what I do. And then when we started to work together, it became very clear that even though they had been running this business successfully for many years, there were some things that were eating away from them. So, for example, they would have calls with potential clients, give a lot of information away in those calls, and then the clients would say, thank you, and move to someone else. And there was also something that was bothering them. The kind of services they delivered were quite involving large sums of money. And then they would say, well, anything up to, well, let's pick an amount here. Everything up to $1 million, I charge 15%. Everything over $1 million, I charge 10%. And I said, well, that's fascinating. Normally people charge more when the amount gets higher.
I was going to say it sounds inverted.
It is. And that turned out to be actually an underlying reason that they didn't feel comfortable enough. Basically, they didn't feel worthy enough to charge more for those large amounts because they were thinking, well, my services aren't worth that kind of money. And then when we started unpacking that, then things changed instantly. They started to set boundaries. They started to charge for what was actually what they were doing. And I could just see them grow week by week. It was almost their confidence and their inner peace, literally their calmness, like, this is me. I'm doing it on my way. I've been doing this for many years. I know people do it differently, but I know my process works and I love it. And with that, it was almost like instantly, new clients popped up, bigger things were asked. And yeah, it was just amazing to see how these small things had such an impact on the foundation for their business and really helped them to take off.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, that's why I say over and over again, it's all about our state of mind, really. I mean, it's amazing how no matter what you do in life, it really comes down to that. And when we can take full ownership of our state of mind and improve ourselves, because nobody's perfect, but we are always in a constant, we are perfect in the sense that we're always improving. That is perfection. Perfection is not that we're already arrived. Perfection is that we are on a path and we're on that path and we continue to move forward. So that's true perfection. So that's amazing. And I imagine these transformations probably happen in a relatively short period of time, in terms of calendar time, like maybe a few months, or what does that look like?
Yeah, this particular person, this happened within 3 months. And I have one client who doubled her business, and maybe more importantly, but she worked 7 days a week, and then after working with me for 6 weeks, she went back to working 5 days a week with her weekends totally off. She hired staff to assist her, and now she could afford it. And that's what I often work towards, to help people make more money so they can actually buy more rest. And I mean, like, oh, there's someone helping me. It's not just me. There's someone other than me, or get better people. That sometimes is also the case. So, it's 6 weeks is the quickest where I've seen it. But I had one client that more than doubled his business in the first month. That allowed him then to get a lot of the things that we discussed in place, like more help, more automation, better systems, which then helped him to further elevate his business, and with that reduce his working hours.
Amazing. And I'm sure we'll be hearing. Obviously we're going to share Yvonne's links in this video, so I want to invite everybody who's watching. You're going to definitely want to go follow her work, whether it's on LinkedIn or wherever. And we're going to keep hearing about these great stories. But what I'd also like to hear, Yvonne, is, because obviously you've got a lot of clarity around this. Where is this all headed? Like, if you were to kind of express, where you're taking all this, what is your big vision for yourself? Anything that you feel comfortable sharing, I'd love to hear about it.
Oh, I have an amazing vision. I just don't. Okay, so picture this. There's this amazing beach with palm trees somewhere, and it's just the best place you want to be, right? That's where I live. Don't ask me where, because I haven't figured that one out yet, but we're talking vision, right? So this is where I am. And then people from all over the world come with me to coach with me or to do a retreat with me. And I have an amazing team that is helping me with a lot of online courses and things like that. So basically there's something for everyone. And that's where I'm growing to. I work with people one-on-one, but I'm also working on smaller programs and online programs for people that may not want to work with me one-on-one, but still want the knowledge. And it's my intention to grow my team so that a lot of it is not just done by me, but I have the support to allow myself to enjoy that beach.
Amazing. I love being by the ocean. I know we probably talked about that and could talk about it endlessly, but I mean, everybody has a favorite place in the world to be, and I enjoy being in a lot of different places, but there's something magical about being by the ocean. And I think probably most people would agree to that, even if they haven't experienced it to them, to a large extent. So that's a great vision. How far away would you say you are from that particular vision? If you were just to kind of put an educated guess on it.
Well, it's always so funny because we tend to say I'm very far off, right? But the truth is, I actually live close to the beach and might move closer. I already have an amazing team. We're already working on online programs. I've already got some. I'm organizing my first retreat as well in an amazing place here in Spain, in Barcelona, in April 2024. So although my first thought would be to tell you, well, maybe in 3 years, maybe more, I don't know. I could fast track it. I just know I love the image. I'm open for it, and we'll see.
Amazing, Yvonne. And I'm sure people who are watching this, at least some of the people who are watching this are saying, wow, I'm really like, where do I get more of this? How do I tap into all this greatness? So if any invitation that you want to extend to people who are watching?
Yes. So I've connect with me on LinkedIn, because that's the place I love to connect. And if you feel like, wow, I would love to know, for me, personally, I feel a bit stuck, or I want more time, or I want to elevate my business, just set up a 30-minute call with me. I'll help you come up with a strategy or whatever you need, because this is truly what I love. And then, you go your merry way. This is just something I love to do. And if you, I get emotional. Wow. I think it's because I really love it. So yeah, just connect with me on LinkedIn or set up a call so we can chat and I can help you. And if you really want to know what it feels like to work with me, I am launching something. If it's okay to share this.
Of course.
Yes. Okay. I'm launching something in November, which is called the CEO Plan Clinic, where I really give you the framework that you need to assess where am I doing well, where can I improve, what can I let go of, to start 2024 with a bang. So it's a 3-day event. It's going to be out of this world. I'm so excited. So if you want to experience this, come join me because it's going to be amazing.
I mean, I don't understand. I couldn't understand why someone would want to say no, because the energy is so great. I mean, that's a great invitation, and I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic event. And like I said, when Yvonne extends that invitation, when we do that, it's because we truly want to help. That's the stance. So I mean, I think those of you who are watching, you can pick up on this. And this is the difference between someone who's kind of like needy, putting out needy energy, versus someone who's like, look, here's my authentic gift. Here's what I can offer. I'm happy to be of help if I can, right? And that's kind of the labor of love. And all the abundance in the world, all the opportunities open up from that stance. So hopefully that will serve as a really great example. I think it's a great way to close it out. Yvonne, it's been such a pleasure to have you on here. These conversations, they are kind of short, but I think we pack a lot of substance, a lot of value into them. So I've definitely enjoyed speaking with you today. Hopefully everybody who's been watching or listening has as well. And thank you very much for participating.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great fun.
Awesome. So for folks who are watching, this series will continue. So definitely, if you're watching this on my new YouTube channel, that's just youtube.com/@David Greenberg Consulting. This is where you post it. It'll probably also be on LinkedIn, at least a part of it, and then on Facebook as well. Those are the 3 places. I will have links to Yvonne's work, her LinkedIn, anything else that she wants to share, website, anything at all. You don't have a YouTube channel? Is that?
I do. Yes,
okay.
I do.
I can also share that. Anything that you want to share, just let me know. It'll all be in the show notes. And thanks so much, folks. We'll see you again very soon. Take care.